Now, early this week, the Ministry of Education, through the National Curriculum Development Center, unveiled the new aligned A-level curriculum to be used by learners joining Senior 5. While the syllabus presents new ideas, there are questions about its viability. Tonight on Talk of the Nation, we ask how this will affect those joining university in the end. And to help us appreciate this, we do have Professor Mouhammad Mpezamihigo, the Vice Chancellor at Equator University, joining us on Zoom. Good evening to you, Professor, and thank you for joining us on NTV Weekend Edition.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks a lot for hosting me tonight.
Well, we would like to start with an overview of some of the changes in the new A-level curriculum.
Basically, what the National Curriculum Development Center has done and did actually for the lower secondary curriculum was to move away from a teacher-centered learning system. In other words, the teacher driving the agenda of learning to a student-centered learning. And so they were able, I call that puncturing. They punctured the education structure by trying to interrupt the middle level of education without actually necessarily affecting the primary school, the A level, and the university level. So what is happening? We already have candidates who start their first exams for the new curriculum that is competence based. In other words, there is less and less work done by the teacher or the lecturer, and more work and assignments that are designed by the students. So what is going to happen? These O-level leavers are going to join A-level under the new aligned curriculum, which also has got similarities. And according to the National Curriculum Development Center, they are trying to say, and I quote, removing overlaps, irrelevances, and also making sure that the students actually participate in getting to learn. They drive their own agenda. Now, this presents definitely a challenge to the university system, because already the accredited and approved programs of a certain nature, they base on the traditional system of education, where students come through A-level, O-level, A-level, and join university and find curricula that is structured.
Before we get into the university side of it, there have been concerns that were raised by, the teachers when it comes to the readiness, because you realize the unveiling of this curriculum was done less than a week to the start of the Senior 5 term or class. Would like to pick your brain on this. Don't you think that the teachers needed more time, given that they're the implementers of this program, and also, for them to understand, and, get familiar with the program? Because if the teacher, can imagine, is not familiar with the new curriculum, what is going to happen to the student? What are they going to be teaching the students?
Actually, yesterday I attended a parents' meeting for Senior 1, and I was amazed at the level of inquiry by not only the parents and the students, but also some of the teachers actually haven't yet grasped exactly what the new lower secondary curriculum means. Especially, everybody was thrown into disarray when they could not easily understand their own grades, A, B, C, D, E. And so it is indeed true that there was need for more time to train teachers. But, if you don't start, you'll never start. So I think UNEB and the Ministry of Education had to do what I've called puncturing a section of the education structure so that the other systems, the other layers actually fall into place. So what is going to happen automatically, if the university systems do not respond to this new change, there is going to be chaos and confusion when it comes to admissions, and also training kids who are just joining from A-level with a system where they drive the agenda of learning rather than being told what to do.
Okay, as we continue to unpack, the A-level curriculum, one of the other issues that was highlighted was the removal of the termly exams and the shift to the continuous assessment. And how will this impact both the students and teachers in the long run, especially for you, the universities that are looking to receive these students in that regard?
Yeah, definitely. Even for the O-level, actually, the advantage with the O-level system, the lower secondary school system, is that senior 1 and 2 are handled at the school. It is from senior 3 and senior 4 where the continuous assessments are actually submitted to UNEB, and they constitute a percentage of the final grade. Now, A-level are only 2 years, so I think there's going to be some kind of challenge because 2 years may not be adequate enough, given the fact that it is just going to be rolled out. And then for the university system, we still have 2 years. We could actually work with the regulators, the National Council for Higher Education, National Curriculum Development Center, and also look at the curricula that we are offering and prepare in good time. Of course, there are issues, there are challenges because you require workspaces. This is project driven. Students are supposed to make discussions, and therefore you require a lot of mentoring at the university level. You need labs, you need, materials. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge, which we wait and see what the A-level are going to do actually when they join Senior 5.
From what you're saying, are you saying that the universities are not yet ready to receive the candidates from the new A-level curriculum?
Of course, we still have 2 years to go because the O-level first batch actually passed out this time around. So they have 2 years to do A-level before they join the university system. So at the moment, the universities are still locked in the old boxes of the curriculum. And so the issue of accreditation and restructuring and mainstreaming and trying to align with the forthcoming students who are going to sit their A-levels in the coming 2 years needs to be treated with urgency. I know that the National Council for Higher Education has embarked on a program of interacting with universities, but the universities themselves shouldn't wait until it is too late when we receive students at our gates and then find a challenge. But then the fundamental issue is going to come with the assessment, as you have said. Continuous assessments, already universities do progressive tests. They do continuous assessments tests. The difference, though, will be that there's going to be much more of the project-driven curriculum where students have to read more, they have to do presentations, they have to develop thinking skills, they have to have ICT skills, yet some institutions actually do not have the infrastructure to be able to deliver on that new curriculum demand. If you are doing literature, it doesn't matter. We will require that you also understand some basic ICTs. If you are doing medicine, we expect you to be a very good communicator, and also you should have some knowledge of entrepreneurship. So that's where the curriculum is going, and the universities need to do much more now and invest in that process before it is too late when we receive the first batch after 2 years from now.
Just more light on this, Professor. Does that mean that the current A-level curriculum is going to somehow affect and see changes in the current programs that are being offered at different universities?
I think it's going to be a phased system because, like they've done, even when they actually had the first group of the new lower secondary curriculum, they allowed the overlaps, the other people who actually were still hanging in the system. So I think the current A-level system will have to be phased out as we receive a new system, and then an integration. Now, how the universities interface that and integrate it with the new and the old is going to depend on how dynamic the institutions are and how we engage with all the stakeholders, because you have also to bring on board the employers. What do the employers actually want? Are we just trying to produce masses, or are we trying to prepare people for the world of work where they will be able, even if Uganda is already saturated, can they actually cross the borders within Africa and beyond and actually match the demands of the world? So we should be looking beyond our own institutions at the national level, because our country is not only producing for Uganda, but for the global market as well.
Okay, Professor, as we get to wind up this conversation, do you think, in your view, that this curriculum was given enough time to be carefully developed, to also match, with the university standards?
No, I think, if you compare the O-level, the lower secondary school curriculum, the new curriculum, there's been at least 4 years. So we are now probably in the 5th year. So for the A-level, definitely 2 years are not good enough. There are even proposals saying that actually we should even disregard the O-level results. We have a 6 or 5 year system. We know that we are training students who are going to take tracks when they go to university. So the harmonization requires more time. So I think it will also be a pilot. So the first batches are definitely going to be what the scientists call guinea pigs, and then we learn along the process.
Okay. Also, among the concerns that were raised was the lack of consultation from, the teachers, the university leaders, and all of this. Do you think that there is need for an entire education value chain to consult extensively on how this curriculum should work, and of course how it can be carried forward and integrated into university as well?
Of course, I'm in support of more consultation, but the way the Ministry of Education works and the way reforms actually take place, they go somehow simultaneously with the consultations. What I remember very well, because I've been a Vice Chancellor for some years, I know that the National Curriculum Development Center has had meetings with the Uganda Vice Chancellors Forum on a couple of occasions, including sharing actually the ideas of what is likely to come. But then the way we adapt and the way we move is not the same. So on one hand, you have your regulator, the National Council for Higher Education, asking you to stick to your approved curriculum. Any amendments that exceed 20% or 25%, if I'm wrong, that amendment requires the notification of the National Council. Now here we are having an entire overhaul of a system, because definitely, whereas we will have an overlap, there's going to be pressure that is going to be mounted on existing curriculum, and therefore National Council and all the stakeholders, we have to have a continuous conversation in the coming 2 years, so that we see, instead of just rubbishing everything away, we are able to integrate and seamlessly get into a new curriculum, which will also impact the university training system.
Okay, as we conclude with your closing remarks, what would be the recommendations, of how the government or the ministry would have handled this new A-level curriculum unveiling?
I think we should subject it to further discussion. Let the universities also try to see and align. For example, we're basing on subject combination. If you did physics, chemistry, biology, somebody would guess and say you are likely to do medicine, if not dentistry or agriculture or forestry or something related to science. If you did arts, they also aligned you either to law, humanities, social sciences. So I think because these subject combinations are going to collapse, we are going to be looking at learning outcomes, some competences, some skills picked out of the curriculum from O-level to A-level and to university. We have to have a conversation that will have to bring on board all the key issues, and then the parallel investment by government, because the implementation will require investment in labs, in project sites, in also retooling the teachers. So we're talking about retooling the teachers, but there's also retooling the lecturers. Some of them still use yellow notes, and yet we are talking about a new curriculum which will require getting challenges from students who are already read ahead of us because of the available information. We should also not forget the role of technology that is going to be played, because technology has simplified things. So I think at the university level, the changes won't be similar to those of the A-level and O-level curricula, but instead we should be able to align and adopt technology to be able to produce professionals who are going to compete globally, not only in Uganda and the East African region.
Okay, but finally, do you think this is a step that the ministry took in the right direction as a way of streamlining the Ugandan education system that has for long, been viewed as something that is not helping the generations?
Of course, this has been long overdue. But on the other hand, also the politicians should address the issue of what we call saturation of the job market, because our education system was tailored to produce white-collar staff, white-collar people, white-collar jobs. This is no longer attainable because the job market is already saturated. And therefore, we think that the move by the ministry is in the right direction, but the economics of the country have to be attended to so that it's not seen as if when graduates are not having jobs and that is equated to very poor training. In some situations, that may be the case. But then, if we are going to skill them, and one of the objectives of the new curriculum is to make sure we equip these young people with the skills to survive in the world. If that is going to be evaluated in the next 5 or 10 years, we should be answering the question, was it worthwhile actually even overhauling the education system?
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Mouhammad Mpezamihigo. It's always a pleasure hearing from you. Matters Education, and he's the Vice Chancellor of the Equator University, getting to shed more light and painting for us how the picture of the new A-level curriculum and how this is likely to affect those that will be joining universities. And with that, we take a short break. When we return, we'll be hearing from the world of sport.